Hello there, folks. My name is Spoonks, and I saw Wonka, and it was actually pretty good. Now, as you could probably imagine, I was a bit indifferent about this movie. The premise and just the idea of an origin story about Willy Wonka, of all people, was just really weird and odd to me. And the trailers didn't fully sell me on the movie per se, but that's not to say I wasn't curious about it. The trailers didn't look bad or anything, and the director of this is Paul King, the same man who brought us Paddington, and those films are as good as everyone say they are, if not better. So I was, you could probably say, cautiously optimistic. And I'm happy to report that while not reaching the heights of the Paddington movies, this was still a pretty solid family film. I quite enjoyed myself watching this. First off, the director Paul King was able to bring some, not all, but some of the charm and whimsy and emotion of the Paddington films here. Just the energy and, dare I say, vibe of this movie was just so pleasant and joyous and wonderful. You can't really hate anything about this movie, even if the story is rather weak. More on that later. I still found myself enjoying a lot of this movie because it was executed in such a joyous manner that I just had a smile on my face throughout the entire movie, pretty much. So yes, the tone and energy of this movie is just so infectious and jolly and positive. It's just a hard movie to hate when so much of it is putting a smile on your face. The characters in this movie are also really likable, well developed, and fun to watch. Timothée Chalamet really makes the character of Willy Wonka here. I was a bit skeptical about him, seeing him in the trailers, but no, he really did a good job. He's definitely charmingly odd, I think is a good way to describe his character here. I also liked his relationship with the little girl, and she was a highlight in this movie. I hope she has a long career ahead of her because she was spectacular in this, and their chemistry and dynamic was really enjoyable and wonderful to watch. There are some other side characters, and some are definitely better than others. More on that later, but I still found a lot of them to be really fun and entertaining to watch, specifically through their performances. You have Olivia Colman as the head of this laundromat, and her relationship with one of her coworkers is easily the funniest part of the movie. I could not stop laughing at it every time those two came on screen. And you have some of the other people that Willy Wonka meets alongside the little girl, and I think they were all really likable and had very solid, charming personalities. And Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa surprised me, not because it was groundbreaking by any means, but he was actually not in it as much as I thought he would be, given the trailers, how they've been showing a lot of his scenes. But for the little time he's in it, he's actually pretty funny and entertaining. This movie is also surprisingly pretty funny. Not a laugh-out-loud riot by any means, but there's definitely some good wordplay, some good slapstick, some cute jokes here and there that can get a good laugh. And like I said, the Olivia Colman character with her relationship with the other coworker, easily the biggest laughs in the movie for me. Even the songs in it were really charming. They're not gonna win any awards, or I'm not gonna go out of my way to listen to them on the radio or on Spotify or anything, but they're well written, well performed, and they've even stuck in my head for a couple days. Some of them are pretty catchy, I will admit. And the last positive thing I will say is that the emotional beats do hit. The emotional moments are really well done, well executed. There is definitely a lot of heart and soul put into this movie, and just like in those Paddington movies, there is a resolution near the end of the movie that actually got me to tear up quite a bit. Actually, it was actually a very sweet, adorable, wholesome little moment there that really ended the movie on a nice little note. And now on to my negatives with the film. First off, I do think the story here is a bit weak. It's not bad or anything. It definitely has its fun moments. It's more than made up through the tone and the energy of the film, just the nature of it all, really. But I will say the story on its own is a bit weak. It's a typical breakout of the jail, orphanage type facility place heist movie pretty much, and I will say anytime the movie tried to focus on that, it lost interest in me. I was a bit unengaged with the film anytime the film chose to focus heavily on the story aspects. And as a prequel to Wonka, character pretty much, I do think there is definitely some major differences, and definitely is not going to be able to satisfy, Willy Wonka fans by any means. This is definitely more of its own thing rather than like a traditional prequel or origin story to the character. So if you look at it as a prequel to Willy Wonka rather than its own thing, I think you're going to have more issues with this movie. I do think the climax goes on for a bit too long. Maybe cut it down by a little bit. I think it would have ended things a bit stronger for me at the very least. I think it just went on for a bit too long for my taste. And I think the last big issue I have with this is the villains of the movie. Even though they were all played wonderfully, you could tell the actors were having a stupendous time, and they even did have some funny moments here and there. I just found them to be very weak characters and not as well written as the rest of the cast, at least in my opinion. But with all that said, I still had a pretty solid time with Wonka. It's just a really joyful, charming, fun little family film with likable characters, good jokes, good songs, and good emotional beats. If you're definitely curious, I'd say go check it out. At least see it once in theaters to just give it a shot, as there's still plenty of stuff in here that I think you'll like. If you want to see this movie as its own, just want to see a good, charming film, I think you'll definitely like it. If you're looking to see like the grand origin stories of the character of Willy Wonka and how this ties in to the 1971 film, I think you will be a bit more disappointed if you go in with that. But still, on its own, I think it's a pretty good movie. I'd recommend it. Not a must watch, but if you got nothing better to do this holiday season and you just want to see a pretty solid, charming little movie, I'd say go check it out. And those were my thoughts on Wonka. What did you all think of it if you've seen it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination.